Hey guys, Cainebourne back with the Elder Scrolls Online. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about crafting writs. Crafting writs are daily repeatable quests that reset every 20 hours and are available for all of the various crafting skill lines in the Elder Scrolls Online. There are two major categories, equipment and consumables. Equipment crafting writs cover clothing, blacksmithing, and woodworking, and consumable crafting writs cover provisioning, alchemy, and enchanting. Why you would want to do these is they do come with various rewards. They're specifically useful if you're still leveling up the skills and didn't do some of the quick leveling guides that I had posted, or just in supplement with those. You will get things like crafting materials. You will be able to get sometimes ornate or intricate items that are already completed. You can make some gold. You can make some inspiration to level up. But perhaps more importantly, and I would assume of greater interest to you guys, when completing equipment writs, you can sometimes obtain glass-style motif fragments which allow you to construct glass armor and weapons, which is a very cool style that you might remember from the single-player Elder Scrolls games. I certainly do. And then also for the consumable crafting writs, and specifically the provisioning writs, when you complete them, sometimes you'll have an opportunity to get the Psijic Ambrosia recipe fragments, which when combined will allow you to create Psijic Ambrosia, which is the experience boosting potion I talked about in both my provisioning guide as well as my fishing guide when I discussed getting a hold of Perfect Row. So all of that, plus the more rare motif and recipe fragments I just mentioned, make it well worth your time to go ahead and complete crafting writs. You also want to complete crafting writs because eventually you want to work on master crafting writs, and I will discuss those a little bit later in the video. So, in order to begin completing crafting writs, the first thing you're going to have to do is get certified. In order to get certified, you must be a minimum of level 6, and then you'd have to find the crafting writ board, which will lead you to the NPC. Once you get to the NPC, if you've already got level 10 in that specific crafting tree, then he will certify you without actually completing a task. If you are under level 10 in that crafting tree, then you will actually have to go through a little mini quest with him just to prove to him that you know what you're doing. You'll maybe make a few items, that sort of a thing. In any event, you will then be certified. Then you can go to a crafting board and you can receive your crafting writs easily. I will show you very quickly where you can find these NPCs. They will typically be in your starting town because I'm part of the Daggerfall faction. Cainebourne is going to be one of the better places for me to go and do this. The Mages Guild is going to be for the consumable writs to get certified. And the Fighters Guild is going to be where I go in order to get the equipment writs and certification. The NPC here is right here, and his name is Danel Taleno, so he's going to take care of certification. And I believe I haven't certified in anything on this character. So let's take a quick look. What can you tell me about provisioning, enchanting, and alchemy? So these are the consumable writ certifications, and I should be able to be certified immediately.
Yet a grueling profession. Gruel, you see. I am capable of levity, on occasion. First, you'll need a recipe and some ingredients. Then you shall roast a pig.
So as you can see, he's given me a quest to basically get certified, and I'm not going to do the slow version of all of them. But basically, he's saying I can go ahead and roast the pig, but I'm going to tell him I'm already a skilled provisioner.
I know who you are. I know every competitor. I merely wondered if you were humble enough to learn from a master.
Nope.
Well,
certifying me right now.
I had hoped to learn the secret to your trotter pie. No matter. I'll certify you immediately.
So, as I mentioned, I'm level 10, and I'm going to immediately become certified. I'm going to get some cooking supplies, a little bit of inspiration, and some gold, and I'm going to go on and finish all of these and become certified for everything for the consumable writs. So now I need to become certified in the equipment writs, so I just head over to my Fighters Guild, and I find Milaneth, and she is actually standing right outside in the front. So again, we'll talk to her. And I've already become certified with clothier. That was what I was getting interested in the beginning. So now I'm going to do blacksmithing and woodworking.
Prove you know your way around. I want you to craft a thing. Yes. You know.
So she's gone ahead and certified me there. And we'll do it real quick in woodworking.
Absolutely. That's right.
And now I'm certified there. So that will be the first step to get certified and everything. Now we need to go find ourselves a board and pick up an actual writ. The equipment writ board will allow you to obtain writs for clothier, blacksmithing, and woodworking, and the consumable writ board will allow you to obtain writs for alchemy, enchanting, and provisioning. They are two separate boards, so you'll have to find both. In order to do so, the best thing to do is to look for this icon on your map, which I think is sort of like the Olympic torch. That is the tradesman's square, and that's going to be where all the crafting tables are for blacksmithing, clothier, woodworking, etc. When you're there, you should be usually in range of the boards, and if you look at my compass up top of my screen, you're going to see these blue arrows that are leading to the two separate boards. As you run up to the board here, this is going to be the equipment crafting writ board. There is a writ for clothier, blacksmithing, and woodworking, and I can pick up one of each, so we're going to do that. So now we have a writ for all three of those different trades, and then we're also going to run over to the consumable board here, consumable crafting writs, and grab provisioner, enchanter, and the alchemist writ. So now that we have these, I'll go ahead and complete some, and I'll show you how to turn them in. So in order to actually complete the crafting writs, it is very straightforward. You simply open up your quest log and see what's required. For example, for this alchemy writ, I need to make an elixir of stamina. For the enchanter writ, I need to make a glyph of health. Let's say that I needed to make some clothing. I simply queue up the appropriate item with the materials, and I just go ahead and make X number of bracers, helmets, and so on and so forth. Very straightforward. Once you've gone ahead and made the required items, and you're always going to want to make the lowest level of item possible and not attach any traits to it, because you're just going to kind of be turning it in and wasting it anyway, then you're going to go ahead and need to turn it in. In order to turn it in, you're going to open up your map, and it is going to guide you to the place where it needs to be turned in. Now, I will mention in the crafting tree itself, your skill level is going to determine what level of writs you're doing, and so when it's maxed out, you're eventually going to end up doing these in Cainebourne, but the zone is going to be determined by your level of skill. So you can skip a lot of this and just kind of start doing the end game writs if you've already gone ahead and leveled up all of your crafting trees. So with your writ complete and you've made your way over to the trade consortium, you're just going to find the delivery crate, and you're going to open it up, and you're going to turn in that writ. And in this example, this is a blacksmith writ. We've obtained 1,000 inspiration, 664 gold, and a blacksmith's crate. So we're going to go open up that blacksmith crate and get an idea of the item. So we've got a completed item. We've got a actual crafting material, we've got a repair kit, and we've got a shipment of iron ingots. So let me break down a little bit how this works and what the possible rewards are. As I mentioned, materials, completed items, gold, inspiration, but let's get a little bit more specific. For equipment writs, which covers clothing, blacksmithing, and woodworking, you can get a shipment of materials, which is this right here, is an older item that you won't typically loot as a higher level character. So if you don't have a low level alt, it's a good source to get them without having to purchase it if you were so inclined and needed them. You can get a survey report, which I did not get in this crate, but I'll show you in a second. You can get basically glass motif fragments, which was the more rare item that I mentioned and was very useful. So let's open up my inventory and find that survey that I just looted out of the woodworking. And this basically acts like a very simple treasure map that's going to lead you to a specific point on a map, which is going to tell you where a node is that gives you a large amount of resources. So those can be very helpful. The rewards will work a little bit differently when doing the turn-in for consumable writs. For example, with provisioning, you have the opportunity to get the Sigic Ambrosia recipe fragments instead of the glass motifs. You will also be able to loot recipes, but you will never get a survey report. However, with the other two, which are alchemy and enchanting, and you do the turn-in, you will get surveys sometimes, but there will be no old material crates that you can loot that give you the lower level items. Alright, so that should be everything you need to know about crafting writs in general, but I want to move on to master writs. Master writs can be received when you're turning in your normal crafting writs. So you're still going to be doing those because this is really the most reliable way or inexpensive way to get master writs if you don't want to buy them from other players. If you want to increase your chance of receiving a master writ when you do your normal turn-ins, you basically need to get better at crafting by basically knowing all of the various traits, by knowing more rare motifs, and by knowing more rare recipes. This does not include racial motifs or motifs that you purchase out of the crown store, so it's not meant to be like sort of a pay-to-win mechanic. It simply shows dedication to your craft, so they want you to know more rare things like glass, Dwemer, and Yokoden, more of the traits, and then more of the rare recipes. Once you get a Master Writ, it is sealed to begin with, and the only thing you will know about it is how many writ vouchers you will get if you complete it. At this point, while it's sealed, you can sell it, trade it, bank it, all sorts of things, but make your decision before you open it. This is what a Master Writ looks like. If you have not opened it, it is known as a sealed provisioning writ. If you do decide to open it, then basically it starts a quest. I have a request to cater a themed banquet. The details are included. I'll be in the capital when you're done, blah, blah, blah. So you go ahead and you accept the contract, and it is going to start a quest. And you can just pull that up in your quest log, and then you just simply highlight it, and it'll tell you how to complete it. Once you have completed it, it is going to give you some of those writ vouchers I mentioned earlier. Writ vouchers are a currency that is not bankable, tradable, sellable, or transferable in any way, so you're stuck with it. It is going to be spent at a special merchant that will show up in your alliance capital. You will not be able to see this merchant until you've actually completed a Master Writ, so if you go looking for him ahead of time, you're out of luck. From him, you can purchase furniture or the recipes to make the furniture to complete Master Writs. So this is something, again, that you can either sell or is a collectible, and is something that people are after in the game since the Homestead update. So ultimately, doing the writs as well as the Master Writs are going to get you, like I said, a little bit of money, some items, some crafting materials. It's going to help you to basically level up these crafting skill trees. But mostly it's just going to add a little bit of depth to the crafting in the game to make it, give it a little bit more substance. So if it's something you really like to do, this is kind of a fun way to supplement your leveling or just getting or making these items you want. But then also the icing on the cake is you're going to get these rare items like the glass motifs, which makes some really cool gear. You're going to be able to get the recipe fragments to eventually make the Psijic Ambrosia experience potion. And then finally, you're going to get all of this different kind of more rare furniture and recipes for that. So definitely some money-making opportunities as well as some very cool collectibles. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I want to make a tutorial on pretty much everything in ESO, so not everything is going to be interesting to everybody, but I thought this was definitely worth covering. Thank you so much for watching.